But when your sin goes public,
Come on. Come on.
when your sin goes public, people act like they have none.
That are without sin, cast the first stone.
And I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of my body.
I think that we as Christians should just pray.
I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons.
Hey, Bishop Jakes, how
What's
are you?
up, man?
Man, it's so good to see you.
It's better to see you. How you doing?
What if the same voices preaching salvation on Sunday mornings were secretly living a parallel life?
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing?
What if I told you that several of these prominent preachers were personally invited to Diddy's legendary freak-off parties? Yeah, the same parties at the core of those sensational charges.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
TD Jakes was hanging out at a rapper and twerking party.
What?
That Puff Daddy held. He's sitting right there, old TD Snakes.
So did Diddy just spill the names of some of the most important spiritual leaders in the country? Could the guys who were meant to advise us get caught up in the same mess? Let's begin with Bishop T.D. Jakes, one of the most prominent and well-known personalities in the Christian world. His sermons have touched millions, and he's developed a megachurch empire that spans the world.
Rumors surrounding, Diddy and T.D. Jakes.
Why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin?
Diddy forced me to make a sacrifice when I went to his birthday party. Since then, I stopped meeting Diddy. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Tyler Perry are all in this together, and they are the worst people.
But despite his fame, Jakes got caught up in the allegations of a YouTube channel, Tough News TV, that were then taken up on other social media platforms, resulting in his name trending on the internet a few months ago. In the video, host Jermaine McKinley alleged that he was sent an anonymous email claiming Cassie Ventura was assisting the FBI in an investigation against Diddy after the former filed and settled a civil lawsuit against the hip-hop mogul, accusing him of heinous acts of violence during their decade-long relationship. The email read, "My RD and Stein noise." So, I want to put you up on game on the real nature of Diddy and Bishop Jakes' relationship. But first, let's understand that Bishop Jakes is not of God. He is obviously a Freemason, and so was Diddy. And I say was because it looks as if he has been deprived of his protection, privileges, and authority. But make no mistake about it, his soul is still spoken for by the devil. He will never be able to fight against or avoid that brutal truth. Anyway, I'm informed Diddy and Jakes disguise the genuine nature of their relationship.
Just recently today, I've heard from 2 other victims that so it's just a lot to talk about, that experienced the same thing that I experienced.
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing?
According to the email, back in June 1983, Kim Porter claimed T.D. Jakes was accused of fooling with a young lad barely a year after tying the married with his wife. The rumor is the entire affair was hushed up somehow. Fast forward to 1999, when a person threatened to spill the beans on Jakes. Inexplicably, he disappeared. Pastor Blank discloses that the individual was paid money to be silent. 2 years later, the same individual showed up dead with a gunshot to the head. This all took down at Emmanuel Temple of Faith in Smithers, West Virginia. Rumor has it some from Jakes' hometown claim he's been on the down low with boys all along, and there's even rumors of some older pastor grooming him. McKinley also claimed Cassie had given over damning evidence, including Kim Porter's burner phone and a USB stick holding film of one of Diddy's sex parties, to authority.
A USB drive and Kim Porter's burner phone. Now, there is also an alleged email out saying a plethora of other things that include TD Jakes.
Just man like himself be at a party, which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bruh. Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe.
That multiple male escorts corroborated the fact that TD Jakes have slept with multiple men at Diddy's parties and abroad.
McKinley added that Jakes was in attendance at one of the gatherings when he reportedly slept with many males. He further said that numerous male escorts would apparently verify the charges against Jakes, and that a young guy was set to sue the bishop for crimes that allegedly happened when he was 16 years old. In addition to all this, rapper and hip-hop musician Mace also disclosed what he knows about the connection between Diddy and Jakes. If you are a lover of hip-hop music, you may have heard about the continuing fight between rappers Mace and Diddy. The two used to be close partners in the 1990s when Mace was one of the biggest performers signed to Diddy's Bad Boy label. However, things went bad in the early 2000s when Mace believed that Diddy was using him and not paying him adequately for his efforts. Mace has been public about his frustrations with Diddy, particularly when the latter delivered a statement at the 2020 Grammys denouncing the lack of appreciation for black music by the business. Mace accused Diddy of being disingenuous and of withholding his publication rights for 24 years. He stated that he offered Diddy $2 million to buy back his publication, but Diddy declined and demanded for more money. But what does Pastor TD Jakes have to do with this feud? Well, according to Mace, Diddy has a strange connection to the famed preacher. In a recent song titled Oracle 2: The Liberation of Mace and Betha, Mace unleashed a surprise that stunned many listeners. He rapped, "Diddy got a deal with TD Jakes, that's why he never paid me. He knew I'd be free one day, and he ain't want me to say what I'm going to say today." So what does this verse mean? Is Mace insinuating that Diddy struck some type of agreement with TD Jakes to quiet him or to prevent him from leaving Bad Boy?
Use him aggressively, then I want you to know God could use me aggressively. Because for years, these guys have organized a mass organized effort to slander my...
Is he saying that TD Jakes is somehow connected in Diddy's dubious business practices? Or is he merely tossing out random names to stir some controversy? Unfortunately, we don't have a clear response to these queries, since neither Diddy nor TD Jakes have replied to Mace's claims. However, some fans have hypothesized that Mace may be alluding to an event that occurred in 2014 when Diddy contributed $1 million to TD Jakes' church in Dallas. At the time, Diddy declared that he was impressed by Jakes' speech and wanted to help his work. However, several critics questioned Diddy's motivations and asked whether he was attempting to purchase favor with TD Jakes or earn a tax advantage. Some further pointed out that Diddy has a history of abusing artists and not paying them what they deserve. This contribution might have been part of a bigger strategy to keep Mace under his control. As if that's not enough, in 2022, a video of Jakes attending Diddy's 53rd birthday celebration sparked a commotion on social media. In reaction to the criticism, the executive vice president of TD Jakes Entertainment, who also attended the celebration, claimed the pastor only made a short presence at the occasion.
See, they put you in a situation where you can't win. If you hang out with the rich folk, you're snooty. If you stoop down low and get somebody in trouble, you had no business. So I'm supposed to sit at home and do nothing.
Now, these claims have spread like wildfire online and prompted Jakes' name to trend on several social media sites over the previous few days. This caused Jordan H., Executive Director of Public Relations and Communications for the TD Jakes Group and TD Jakes Ministries, to dispute the claims to the Christian Post. While passionately refuting the false and unjustified charges, he added, "Recent claims circulating on pockets of social media about Bishop TD Jakes are unequivocally false and baseless." Shortly after, his staff published a statement denouncing the allegations. While live streaming his Saturday night sermon on YouTube, Jakes reportedly addressed the concerns by refusing to speak about false narratives online, indicating that the allegations were falsehoods.
If everything was true, all I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart. There's enough power in the blood to cover all kinds of sins. I don't care what it is, the blood would fix it. But I ain't got to repent about this. All I got to do is step over top of it and keep on going on.
However, Nissan refused to buy into the bishop's fury during his sermon, pointing out that he did not explicitly address the claims. In any event, Jakes had no business being at Diddy's gatherings, much alone being a close buddy of his. According to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, saints should have no interaction with sinners. Now, we all know about the strange things that happen during Diddy's fabled parties. Rappers and celebrities have been pointing to odd conduct at Diddy's private gatherings for years. In fact, 50 Cent recently explained the nature of these events and why he avoids them at all costs. They hug you from the front and the back at the same time. If you into that, you into it. I'm okay with it. I'm just saying this ain't my motherfucking sort of party. I'm uneasy. I believe I belong in the girls' bathroom, he said. While the charges against Jakes are unfounded, this is not the first time the bishop has been entangled in trouble. In 2009, T.D. Jakes' son, Jermaine Jakes, was detained after he reportedly exposed himself at Keast Park in Dallas and conducted indecent behaviors in front of two persons who turned out to be undercover police. Moreover, last year, the oldest daughter of Bishop Jakes, Cora Jakes Coleman's divorced husband, Richard Coleman, was accused of beating their adopted daughter. Anyway, it doesn't help that Bishop Jakes has previously been affiliated with another contentious character, Eddie Long. For those unaware, Long was a preacher whose career was plagued by charges of impropriety with young men in his flock.
I cannot get the sound of his voice out of my head, and I cannot forget the smell of his cologne, and I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home.
And he turned around and called witnesses to testify against me.
Thus, when T.D. Jakes' name began becoming associated with Diddy's legendary parties, people started making connections that no one ever wanted to believe. Senior pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist since 1987, Long monitored the church's explosive increase, with membership ballooning from a modest 300 to 25,000. The Long has been senior pastor at New Birth Missionary Baptist since 1987. The church stated it grown from 300 members to more than 25,000 under Long's command and become one of the nation's biggest congregations. The church operated television and international ministries and developed satellite churches in numerous cities, include Miami, Denver, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Long was a Christian author, a gospel vocalist, and was also renowned for preaching and practicing a prosperity gospel in which the devoted would be rewarded with prosperity. Long was also noted for his flashy lifestyle as he traveled throughout the globe on a private airplane, drove around Metro Atlanta in a $350,000 Bentley, and lived in a $1.4 million house mansion with 6 bedrooms and 9 bathrooms. In 2006, the church hosted then President George W. Bush and former Presidents Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, and George H.W. Bush at the burial of Ketta Scott King, the widow of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. But 4 years later, scandal arose when 4 young males filed cases accusing him of immoral misbehavior, bringing recognition to his church that extended far beyond its 1 million-seat cathedral at its home base near Leonia, Georgia, just east of Atlanta. 3 of the males were older than 18, but one indicated he was 17 at the time of the claimed A.B. They argued that Lengthy urged them to join the church's elite young group so he could employ them. Seeking closeness in exchange, they Long gave them money, new automobiles, homes, and took them on exotic adventures.
And I cannot forget the way that he made me cry many nights when I drove in his cars on the way home, not able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of him off of my body.
In a twist of irony, Long's strident denunciation of homosexuality contrasted dramatically with the claims levied against him by 4 persons. Like many conservative African American pastors, Long fiercely opposed homosexuality, leading marches in favor of constitutional amendments defining marriage as between a man and a woman, and organizing conferences intended at reorienting LGBT persons. These charges paralleled the debacle involving Ted Haggard, another megachurch pastor who fiercely opposed homosexuality before confessing to indulging in illegal activities with a male sex worker in 2006. Moving on, we have prophetess Juanita Bynum. Juanita Bynum, noted for her profound lectures and spiritual conferences, has experienced difficulties of her own throughout the years. But this is a whole other level. She's lately been associated to Diddy's freak-offs, and although she's openly denied any participation, her prior controversies give cause for conjecture. Bynum once remarked on TD Jakes' own controversies, advising people to mind their business when he was tied to improper behavior. While giving her New Year's Eve service at her Norcross, Georgia church, she felt driven to draw similarities between her sermon and the rumors. The Behind the Veil gospel singer was in the middle of speaking on having kindness to others when she briefly approached the controversial topic. Everybody around me can tell you I don't talk about preachers. I don't speak about anyone, because I don't know who's going to have to be my assistants one day. I don't put my lips on the people of God because I wasn't there and I don't know, she began. Elsewhere throughout the ceremony, Bynum continued to assert that hearsay regarding the fresh accusations relating the prominent personalities to each other was coming from persons who were not in the room when the events may have happened. Mind your business, she said. Okay, I'ma leave that alone because this ain't no New Year's Eve message. Bynum appeared to indicate her support for the Potter's House church leader when she remarked, "If I get a phone call, I'm running. I'm headed straight to Texas." She reiterated her lack of opinion on the allegations launched against the religious figure with the biblical adage adapted from John 8:7, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone."
TD Jakes was hanging out at a rapper and twerking party that Puff Daddy held. He's sitting right there, old TD Snakes. Amen. They there twerking and everything. TD Snakes right there.
Dr. Bynum, what is your opinion about Bishop Jakes? Ye that is without sin, cast the first stone.
Bynum's ascension in the religious world was rapid, but her fall from grace appears inevitable given these fresh disclosures. But supporting Diddy is the least of her problems. Bynum recently found herself caught in a web of financial dispute, with over $1.7 million mysteriously vanishing from 2 charitable groups under her guidance. The mysterious disappearance of yearly financial surpluses, which were simply erased from the records, has provoked intense scrutiny and raised major issues about openness and accountability within her departments. A careful study of financial data uncovers a worrying pattern of irregularities, surpluses totaling $1,764,427 from 2016 to 2021 were suspiciously lacking from stated assets, presenting huge gaps in the financial story. While steps were made to fix the problem in 2022 by admitting surpluses as assets, the lingering issue of missing monies from earlier years continues to cast a shadow over Bynum's financial administration. In response to rising criticism and mistrust, the IRS may soon initiate an inquiry into these nonprofit companies, wielding the ability to probe their financial activities with a fine-tooth comb. The ramifications of such an investigation might be grave, perhaps revealing instances of theft or financial mismanagement and prompting legal penalties. But financial troubles are only one chapter in Bynum's story of scandal and controversy. Her personal life has been a roller coaster of highs and lows, defined by wasteful spending, claims of domestic abuse, and brushes with the authorities. In 2002, Bynum made news with her sumptuous wedding to Bishop Thomas W. Weeks III, a spectacular celebration that apparently cost a whopping $1.2 million. Yet the fairy tale relationship took a nasty turn only 5 years later when Bynum accused Weeks of domestic abuse, shattering the image of wedded happiness and sparking soul-searching among her ardent followers. Following this, in what looked to many as a blatant chase of profit, Bishop Thomas Weeks issued a book titled What Love Taught Me. This newspaper, decorated with a cover shot from his wife Juanita Bynum's sumptuous wedding day, dug into the weaknesses of their relationship. Among its contents was a chapter apparently headed "She Wanted to Be the Next Oprah at Any Cost," offering insight on the couple's hopes and objectives. Weeks' expose of their personal lives didn't stop with the book. He later pled guilty to specific offenses and got a sentence of 3 years of probation and community service. This legal ordeal threw a cloud on the couple's public image, ruining their reputation in the eyes of many. Meanwhile, Juanita Bynum disappeared from the public after the scandal surrounding her marriage and court procedures. However, she emerged under the alias Juanita Bynum II, suggesting a rebirth and a new start. Her return to public ministry began with hosting a revival in August 2009. Marking the beginning of a new chapter in her tumultuous journey. During this period of introspection and reinvention, Bynum began to open up about her personal struggles, including battles with substance abuse and tumultuous relationships with both men and women. These discoveries upset many of her followers, questioning their ideas of her as a figure of spiritual authority and moral advice. Despite her personal struggles, Bynum continued to communicate with her fans via numerous channels, including social media platforms and public appearances. However, her message grew more entangled with financial pleas as she pushed followers to plant a seed into her ministry, portraying it as a gateway to spiritual rewards and riches. In a particularly ambitious move, Bynum allegedly sought six-figure contributions to support the building of a prayer area, which she nicknamed a thresher floor. This project raised suspicions among opponents who regarded it as just another example of her opportunistic approach to fundraising. Bynum's unrelenting quest of financial gain reached new heights with the creation of the International Prayer Institute. This company provided pricey seminars on prayer methods, offering participants a chance to enhance their spiritual connection and uncover heavenly rewards. Despite experiencing outrage for the expensive cost, Bynum stayed fast in her defense, refusing to compromise on her felt value and worth. The drama didn't stop there. In 2007, Bynum faced another setback when she failed to pay property taxes on her huge $4.5 million home in Georgia. Despite her assurances that the land was meant for ministry reasons, the tax authorities remained unimpressed, threatening to auction off her estate if payments weren't swiftly paid. And if financial mismanagement and legal entanglements weren't enough, Bynum soon found herself engaged in a controversy involving accusations of prior drug use and same-sex relationships.
Authorities say she went into cardiac arrest while fighting flu-like symptoms. She was 47 years old.
I can't wait. I can't wait for everybody to find out what's really been going on in the background.
But let me tell you, not only because he had left, he was in the back of the court and then he went, I think they took up to like a back room, but the you know, all the Diddy kids are there, right? So his daughters are there. I was sitting behind them. It was awkward for me to watch them have to listen to all of this. After he started, the Mel Esther started getting into a lot of the and stuff, they got up and left. Who
told him to leave? Did Diddy say leave or?
No, Diddy didn't tell them to leave. I don't know if there was a conversation or not. I looked up from writing and I saw them get up, so I don't know. But I know that they were like checking on each other throughout. I saw them ask like Christian at one point, like, "You okay?" Because
like, damn, how your son look like your best friend? If he like it, I love it.
You guys, Diddy's kids, Jesse and Delilah, are coming into the limelight, and what they have to say about their father is nothing short of jaw-dropping, as the impact from Diddy's startling arrest sends shockwaves through their opulent lifestyles. The sisters are ready to wage war against their stepbrothers, Justin and Christian, and disclose the truths that have been held up for far too long. With charges of cruelty and a terrible family history being brought into the open, it's evident that this family is on the edge of a scandalous and violent collapse. In case you're wondering why the sisters are now breaking their silence, murmurs of deep-seated animosity and a desire for justice against their father, a man they once admired, are fueling a furious war inside the Combs family. What's occurring with Diddy's family is right out of a Hollywood thriller, y'all. There's a lot to absorb here, so sit tight and let's get right into it.
I guess that's what the whole name Bad Boy comes from. That people don't really understand. What is it? What is a bad boy? Why did he choose that name?
So, in a startling turn of events, Diddy's own unpraised laundry is being aired, showing a side of him that the public has never seen. And it all has to do with the strange death of his mother, Kim Porter. Not only that, but word on the street is that Jesse and Delilah's hearts are filled with agony. And for the longest time, they've been longing to break free from Diddy's hold and start over. It turns out the tragic narrative of his daughter's anguish has been buried in the shadows for years. But now, with the media frenzy rising around Diddy's legal struggles and alleged crimes, we might finally be hearing the truth involving Kim Porter. This horrific story of treachery, heartbreak, and a search for freedom also provides us insight into the evil side of fame and money, where even the brightest stars cast the deepest shadows. To give you guys some perspective, we'll have to start from the very beginning. As everyone knows by now, the dazzling world of stardom and fame frequently seems like perfection, and that's precisely how Jesse and Delilah Combs have always been perceived, the real epitome of elegance and grace.
There to support him, he blew them kisses in court, made...
The twin girls haven't been in the limelight as often as their father or older stepbrothers, save for a few gorgeous appearances, brilliant fashion moments, and an apparently unshakable relationship with their father. Turns out, beneath the celebrity gloss is a secret narrative of sorrow and betrayal that the world never heard about until now. For those of you who aren't aware, Diddy has 6 kids, at least the ones we know of, and he had Jesse and Delilah back in 2006 with his then-girlfriend, the late Kim Porter. Diddy and Porter's relationship appeared flawless, and Diddy even adopted Kim's kid, Quincy, whom she had with Al B. Sure, yet beneath the grins and camera flashes lay a gloom that would finally destroy the facade of domestic harmony. Things began coming apart when, one day in 2018, the world woke up to the sad news that the adored Kim Porter had unexpectedly departed away. It goes without saying that her abrupt passing sent shockwaves across the celebrity world, followed by an outpouring of sadness from fans and colleagues alike. But that's also where the story deepens. People were astonished to find that Diddy and Kim had a tumultuous on and off relationship with more conflicts than joyful recollections. Well, knowing what we know now, you can only imagine what it was like to parent alongside Diddy. Full of ups and downs, co-parenting with Diddy was such a nightmare that Kim decided to create a book recording her experience as a parent. Rumor has it that Diddy wasn't thrilled when he found out what Kim was up to.
Kim Porter was working on a book before she died.
The freak-offs became a job, she said, noting that other encounters took anywhere from 36 to 48 hours.
It was at that time that she departed, and the cause of death was diagnosed as lobar pneumonia. Even at the time, it didn't quite match together that someone who appeared totally well should die so swiftly to a respiratory infection. Kim's death left a trail of unanswered questions and unsettled feelings, but back then, no one dared to go against the great Diddy. For years, rumors have been flying left and right, suggesting that Diddy's activities leading up to her demise had a key part in her terrible conclusion. Kim's former partner, Al B. Schur, has gone on public for years, suggesting that there was foul play in Kim's death. On many instances, he even turned to social media and posted several now-deleted cryptic remarks regarding his thoughts. He claimed that Kim could have been escaping from something or someone immediately before her demise, and even intimated that Kim had confided in him about this.
I think he's very capable of doing it. It's in his character. That's who he is. That's what comes with power. That's what comes with arrogance. That's what comes with...
And they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms.
Imagine being Jesse, Delilah, and Quincy, trapped between the affection they once had for their father and the dawning knowledge that he may not be who they thought he was. It actually seems like living in a twisted soap show. Of course, as youngsters, they were insulated from such news, but they probably picked up a few hush-hush rumors, which they originally ignored. Now that they live with their father, who has been nothing short of loving, caring, and very present in their lives, things appeared good, surface. But when they got older and knowledge of their father's alleged acts, including trafficking persons below legal age, started to emerge, they had no alternative but to side-eye their father. Close sources have revealed that their suspicions over their mother's death have been lingering in their thoughts, even as they've had to smile for the cameras, saying everything is good, but inside, they've been battling with their sentiments and secrets. That's a hefty weight for anybody to bear, much alone two 17-year-olds. Fast forward to today, the twins have supposedly chosen to walk out of the shadows and into the sunlight, keen to speak their truth. They are no longer the small girls who depended on Diddy for support and are now ready to reclaim their story. The media has been buzzing, but the true story rests in the agony they've kept bottled inside. Is it just me, or does it seem like the weight of their mother's death has been worsened by their father's incarceration and filthy secrets being exposed? Come to think of it, there's a strong possibility Diddy's concept of being a present dad was throwing money at his kids instead of really being there. Since we all know Diddy has been too busy crushing other people's careers and ambitions to completely be there for his own children following Kim's death. No, really. How else can you explain Jesse and Delilah's apparent abrupt change of heart to the point where they've even moved out and are home searching because they want to start a life without their father's intervention or influence? If anything, it's really Kim's friend, Leandra Lane, who has been serving as a caretaker since Kim's death and has stepped up even more after Diddy's imprisonment. A source told the U.S. Sun that Leandra was with the star's twin daughters last month, searching for properties to rent since they were going to move out of their dad's primary abode. The source stated, "The twins have found the situation with their dad incredibly tough. They're just 17 and still in school. Let's just say that fame and fortune don't equate to happiness or family unity." Even while the public saw Diddy as a successful billionaire, behind closed doors, Jesse and Delilah were striving to be seen and heard. It's crucial to realize the backdrop of what these young ladies are going through. Additionally, the strain of living up to the Combs brand right now is great. Jesse and Delilah are not only battling for their truth, but also for their identities. And before I forget, let's speak about the emotional anguish they experience. Without a doubt, there are mental health challenges following their mother's demise. The weight of her loss, mixed with the trials of being Diddy's daughters, has pushed them to their limits. But just when the emotional weight became intolerable, the government raids on Diddy's lavish mansions in Los Angeles and Miami must have made the girls understand their father wasn't the hero they had assumed he was. With that discovery, they've forced to re-examine all they thought they knew about their mother's death. Surely, there's no way federal officials would have bothered to look through Diddy's $4 million property in the hills if they didn't feel those trafficking claims were credible. All right, on to the next portion of this awful issue. Even as Jesse and Delilah look ready to walk out of their father's shadow to regain their place in the world, part of the price they could have to pay is a full split with their older stepbrothers, Justin Combs and Christian Combs. While the ladies are following a whole different way, Diddy's boys, not so much. They've been giving off the like father, like son feeling for a long time, living just as recklessly and dangerously as him. The oldest, Justin Combs, is already in hot water. He's caught up in a legal quagmire, charged with his father in a complaint alleging his complicity in sex trafficking. He's been named 50 times. Yeah, 50 to be precise. Remember when music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones serviced Diddy? Well, those court records have finally been acquired, and the contents are simply stomach-churning. Justin and his younger brother faced intense scrutiny during a search at their California home, but were freed without charges. Still, we can't dismiss the reality that Diddy has helped a lot of cases go away. Now let's speak about Christian Combs, the rising star who is reportedly the heir to Diddy's musical kingdom. He's got his own set of charges to deal with due to a former colleague who alleges he was forceful and harassed her aboard a boat hired by, guess who? Diddy himself. Grace O'McCary, the courageous hostess, risked to come forward and describe her horrible experience. This is next-level controversy, y'all. But there's more. Not only have Christian and Justin taken after their father, but they've also promised to protect him until the end of time. As the twins struggle with the sudden change in their life and the unsolved concerns regarding their mother's murder, guess who delivered an official statement on behalf of the complete family, defending their father from any participation in Kim's death? Yep, the two legendary stepbrothers. Maybe it's simpler for them to overlook everything since it's not their mom anyhow. The statement read, "We have seen so many hurtful and false rumors circulating about our parents, Kim Porter and Sean Combs' relationship, as well as about our mom's tragic passing, that we feel the need to speak out. Claims that our mom authored a book are just wrong. She did not. To have a copy is misrepresenting themselves. Additionally, please realize that any so-called friend speaking on behalf of our mom or her family is not a friend, nor do they have her best interests at heart. Our lives were destroyed when we lost our mother. She was our world, and nothing has been the same since she departed. While it has been exceedingly difficult to accept how she could be taken from us too young, the reason of her death has long been documented. There was no foul play. Grief is a lengthy process, and we ask that everyone accept our desire for peace as we continue to struggle with her death every day." This remark followed the emergence of a new book, believed to be Porter's biography, which includes damaging charges about Diddy, including accusations that he injured Kim and held videos of him conducting horrific actions with persons who were young. The book also exposes Diddy as being associated with an Oscar-winning actress who was purportedly quite young at the time. Remember when Al B. Sure stated Kim had revealed with him that she uncovered very unsettling things about Diddy, and she had proof, only to die suspiciously shortly after? Well, this new book may or may not be Kim's true memoir, but every single detail in it fits the charges we've heard about Diddy for years. The 60-page book, released on September 6th and titled Kim's Lost Words, purports to be a compilation of Porter's diaries leaked by her pals. Even while it looks as if the statement originated from all four siblings, Quincy Brown, Christian King Combs, and the twins Jesse and Delilah Combs. By now, everyone understands the amount of coercion and power play in that family. So, right, the twins know better than to go against their elder brothers. However, once on their own, after home searching, close sources have started relaying an altogether different narrative. But if you thought Diddy's kids were the only ones questioning their mom's murder, think again. Kim's father has now entered the discourse. Shortly after Diddy's arrest, Kim's 78-year-old dad, Jake Porter, who had remained quiet for years, talked to Mail Online. In a nutshell, he added, "The truth will come out. It always does in the end." Kim's dad declined to comment directly on Diddy's arrest or charges, but stated that he was aware of everything going on. He also claimed that he was appalled when he witnessed what Diddy did to Cassie Ventura. He responded, "I was disgusted. I don't really have anything to say beyond that. Everyone's innocent until proved guilty, I think, but the truth will come out."